Good morning. We're starting something new, and I'm really excited about this design. I find that it's going to be unique. I believe it's going to be a quick, easy paint. Time will tell. Um, Hardly any supplies needed. 3 different colors of paint. A shade of yellow, which I chose golden straw. A shade of orange, and I chose burnt orange. I use Americana Decor paint. And a shade of brown, which I chose cocoa. Some sandpaper. I have 2 different grits for my sandpaper. A sponge or a roller. I don't have rollers, so it'll be a sponge. And glue. And that's it. So let's get started. What we're painting is a trio of pumpkins. And they're going to have a tea light in them to light them up. So I wanted to paint just one side of the inside of these are going to be boxes, more like rectangles, inside yellow, just to give that more glowing look when you put the tea light in. So what you're going to want to do is find the corresponding piece. Okay, and this comes in 3 different sizes. So this is the piece that goes with the 5-inch. So you'll want to get the same one for each one, each size. And then we're going to paint these yellow. Oh, also too, you're going to want, I use this Kiehl's Sealing Dark Wax. So you're going to want to, have this. You can get this off of Amazon. I think it's $20, but my goodness, it's going to last you forever. Unless you have another way of antiquing, making it look more rustic, whatever, you use to do that, that'll be good as well. So let's get started. Like I said, I think this is going to be a quick, easy paint. I think the most time-consuming part of this will probably be gluing it together, because we are creating a box. And you're going to want it to dry and adhere. So you might need some clips because we are going to be gluing something over the front. So if you happen to have warped wood or MDF, whichever you choose to use, you might need a clamp. And I'm really not going to worry about how great of a coat I get, because I'm going to be sanding this down and then applying that sealing wax to it. And I'm also trying to avoid getting paint over here in these slots. But if I do, I don't think it's going to be any big deal. But just get a good, decent coat on. And the reason why, like I said, that I'm painting this, I wanted to, give that extra glow. It's not necessary, and I'm only painting one wall. So, I mean, if you want to paint all 4, there's nothing wrong with that. Now my file is going to include all 3 sizes. And I decided when it comes to the DIY kits, what I'm going to do is offer each size individually. And then all 3. And then also too, if you wanted to purchase the tea lights that I used, that'll be a separate purchase, but you'll have that option in the listing. Congratulations, Knicks. You pulled it off last night. What a game. Now back to Indiana you go, and hopefully you can tie up the series. You convinced me last night. But if the Pacers win, I won't be upset about that either. If you happen to watch my last series, I think that God Bless America turned out fabulous. It's absolutely adorable, and I love it. Let me just put a little bit more on. Like I said, I am going to sand these, but I don't really want a whole lot of the wood showing. I know I want a pretty good, decent coat in the middle. Where the tea light will be hitting. And I did not sand any of my pieces prior to painting because I knew that I would be sanding them anyways. So they're pretty rough. But I'm hoping once I sand them, they flatten out, look a little bit better without taking off a whole lot of paint. That's why I want I have two different grits. I believe this is like, I don't know, 246 something. I'm not sure what it is. Let me see. I have 80 and 600 grit. And I got those little sanding sticks off of Amazon as well. I don't have a linked, whatever it's called, to the supply that I use. I mean, if you want to just message me and ask me, I'll be more than happy to tell you. So we'll let those dry really, really good. And I'm going to start off with this 5-inch one first. Now this we don't need to paint, and here's the reason why. We're actually going to be gluing this on top. So what this does is this, you know, obviously is the front, but it'll cover up, you know, those, how you intertwine it together. I don't know what the term is. It'll cover that up so you won't be able to see the ends. And then two, I wanted to put score lines down. That way it gives it a more rustic feel. So, like I said, I'm going to use burnt orange, but you can use whatever color you want. I tested a couple colors, and I felt the burnt orange really gave me the look that I was after when it was all said and done. I definitely want to make sure I get a decent coat, at least on the front. And like I said, I think the most time-consuming part of this will be gluing it together. And then also, too, what we'll have to do is flip those sides over that the yellow is painted on and paint the other side orange as well. Because you got to remember that yellow is going to be on the inside. Definitely if you had a roller, this would go quicker. But I feel, and maybe I'm wrong, when using a roller, it takes a lot more paint. I've watched people paint with a roller. And it just seems to take a lot more paint. And there will be a lid to this. And how I'm going to choose to do this, but you can do it however you want. The top of this is actually smaller than the whole diameter of these, and I wanted it to fit down in, not lay on top. But there'll be little slats that you glue in on to these inside these sides, so it gives the lid something to rest on. And then of course the stem of the pumpkin is going to go in this slot, and that's what you're going to grab to lift the lid off, to put a tea light in there, a candle, whatever you choose to use to light these. And if you don't want to light them, you don't have to light them at all. It just has to be a personal preference. But you're definitely going to have to glue the slats in first before you even start assembling this. And I did go back and put score lines on this for that. I think I have them measured down like 1/4 of an inch. And that's what I'm going to do, is 1/4 of an inch. I'm using 1/8 inch material, so it'll be sunken down in 1/8 of an inch. But you can make it however you want. I mean, I don't think you want to go more than 1/8 of an inch personally, but it just has to be a personal preference. Okay, flip these over. Do the other side. Now, if you wanted to do some shading and highlighting on here, you can. I'm not going to, because I think it'll take away from the look I'm going for. Because like I said, I want this to be very primitive, very rustic when it's all said and done. And if I get this done at a decent time, I will be coming back and starting another design. I've got 20 designs I've created this month. So I've got a lot to paint. And I'm taking full advantage of my long weekend. And I don't think you need to just use this design for Halloween only. I think you could leave it up pretty much the fall season. And then I thought about creating a really large one of these as a DIY kit. But if I did that, I would have to charge a fortune. Because I have a small cutter. And it only takes, my cutting area, I believe, is 11 by 20. So if I did, like, say, an 18 by 9, I mean, it would take definitely 5 sheets just to cut the big pieces. So it'd probably take a total of 6 sheets once you get the top and bottom. So I don't know. And then the mailing cost. So I don't know. I actually think this design would be a good seller at craft shows. You could offer them individually or as a set. And I'm not going to worry about the bottom too much. I'm going to finish out this paint that I have put out. Paint the stems and then we'll start sanding and applying that stuff. And each size is going to have a different face as well. It's not the same face. set those aside. Let's go ahead and paint these stems. Like I said, I'm going to use a color called Cocoa. And on these stems, you're going to want to paint both sides. One side will have score marks that you'll want to have turned to the front. But you definitely are going to want to paint both sides, sand both sides, do the antiquing on both sides. This paint doesn't take long to dry, not today. And I kind of just went with a lighter shade of brown for these because I will be putting that antiquing on. And that'll darken them up. All right. Let's do a little sanding. I'm going to start with the yellow pieces first. And hopefully I ended up putting on enough paint. And I'm going to go with my higher grit. And I'm just going to sand with the grain of the wood lightly. What that'll do is it's going to smooth out the wood, and it knocks off all the high spots. And then take a tack cloth or something to brush off your surface. I'm not trying to take it down to the bare wood, at least not on the yellow part. And I'm going to do the same with all these pieces that have the yellow. But see the difference between the two, just lightly going over that with a high grit sandpaper It definitely smooths it out compared to this piece. So it's a huge difference. And then you're going to want to wipe off your sandpaper, and here's the reason why. Because there's going to be yellow dust on here. So you don't want to transfer it to this. So I'm just slightly going with the grain. And it's just kind of dulling it, but taking down the high spots. I mean, see the difference between the two. And you're going to see where I didn't, you know, there's spots that don't have paint. I really don't care about that because I'm putting that sealing wax on. And it will get into those areas and darken them up. I mean, the dust that's coming off of here is crazy. If you are using wood and not MDF, I highly recommend that you sand with the grain. think I am going to like try and sand off like the edges here and there. And maybe like around the teeth, but I'm not gonna go crazy. So just, you know, a little bit here and there. And I just sanded around the top of there just to make it a little bit more rustic. See the bottom here, I didn't put a whole lot on. You can kind of see my sponge marks. So, I mean, on the bottom, I think it's going to be, you know, it'll be all right. But I wouldn't recommend skimping on the paint for the sides and the front. I actually have some sanding sticks that I got off of Amazon, which would be good for, like, if you wanted to take off more paint. And get in these curved areas of the stem. I mean, it's definitely a rough grade. I don't even know what this grade is right offhand, but it's pretty rough. I think it just has to be a personal preference, what you're after as far as the look goes. Then you're going to want to clean out those score lines the best that you can. That one I took off a lot more than, but it's all good. All right, I'm going to take a brief... Well, that ain't good. I'm going to take a brief break, and I will be back shortly. I'm missing a piece. Oh, here it is. And we'll glue this 5-inch one together, and maybe I can continue painting the others. I still have what? 4, 7, 8 pieces to paint. So I might do them all. We'll see. So I will be back shortly. Hopefully you stick around. let's get some antiquing on here. And I actually did samples to make sure that I knew what color I wanted. So this is what it looks like prior to putting the sealing wax on. And this is what it'll look like after. The yellow. And then the brown. So I always like to do tests. I'm not a wing it kind of girl. Here's the thing. If you feel like you get too much, get yourself a wet wipe to wipe it off. So just get yourself a sponge and dip it into this wax, and then I like to just tap it off. And I just put it on with the grain of the wood. And it's definitely brown and more brown in one area than what I would like. So I'll just take my wet wipe and wipe it down and remove some of that. Just kind of go over it till you get the look that you're after. And I feel like you kind of want to move kind of fast. And this just, like, it tones down the yellow. It doesn't make it so bright. I mean, what color of yellow you choose has to be up to you. And how much you put on here has to be a personal preference. That's a lot darker than what I was anticipating. So if you get it too dark from the get-go, maybe go back over it with a wet wipe instead of doing the whole piece. And then continue on. Now, I did try this with the spice pumpkin, and I didn't care for it. It didn't give me the look that I was after. Like I said, it has to be a personal preference, how much you put on. Whoa, a little heavy there. I mean, here's the deal. If you end up getting too much, repaint it. I mean, it's definitely darker. In areas. But I'm okay with it. You see, it just kind of calms that brown down. I'm going to make it a little bit darker. It definitely has to be a personal preference. Okay. Let's start gluing these together. Hands wiped off. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just glue one together so you see how they all go together. And then I'm going to finish painting the rest of these off camera. And I'll take a photo of what it looks like when it's done. And honestly, they're looking pretty dark in the camera on the screen. Okay. Like I said, I took and put some score marks on, but I want this to sink down just a little bit, okay? Not a whole lot. So let me kind of draw a line there and see what that measurement is. And then I'm going to mark all my pieces. So that way it's even. I'm just going to do a 1/4 inch. That's what I actually did those marks at in the first place. I want to make sure these are going to match up no matter what. Okay, that's it. And then all you're going to want to do is, like I said, I have those at a 1/4 inch. So you're going to just want to hit that line and you're going to want to glue it like this. That way what happens is this rests on here. Okay? And it's still going to have about 1/8 of an inch. I probably should have went a little bit higher up, but I might be able to fudge that. Just make sure you kind of get it straight and keep it in the middle. I hope I did that on the right side. Yeah, I did. And like I said, this is just to keep the top from dropping down in. That's all. That's all it's for. It's like a lip for the top to rest on. And they're definitely shorter. So make sure you just kind of get it centered. And you're going to want to do this like this for the entire set. And then what you're going to want to do is put a little bit of glue on both sides of this. Insert it down into this little slot. And it will extend past that hole. I did that intentionally. Let's see if I can set this somewhere so it can dry. All right. Now, what I recommend is starting with this piece here, okay? And gluing this piece, the top of this, onto this piece. And here's the reason why. And you want to make sure you get it flush. Then what it does is it actually creates these little areas that you can apply glue to help put the box together. But the key is you're going to want to make sure this is flush on all sides. That is going to be the key. That everything is lined up and that it is flush. And then what I would do is I would just start with one side. I'd put a little bit of glue in here. And let it dry. then I would repeat to the other side. Trying to keep these pieces straight and flush. And then what I would do is I would apply glue here, here, here on this piece. So just a little bit of glue. And maybe even a Q-tip would be a smart choice to apply the glue. And then just press it together. And pray that this goes together. And it's a little suspect. Honestly, I'm not even going to glue that. I don't need to. It's that tight of a fit. I'm not going to. Snap that together. So now you've got your box. That goes on the inside like that. You lift it up, put your tea light in there, and there's your jack-o'-lantern. And that's all there is to it. And you just keep repeating the process to where they're all glued together. So it's pretty simple. Very, very simple. Excuse me. It's a quick, easy paint. If you had a roller, it would be even quicker. I do not. So, but that's it. And I absolutely love it. Very rustic, very primitive, and it's going to look wonderful in my home. So I'm going to get this finished up, and then once I do, I will post it. I'll post a picture of this trio, lit and unlit. And then after the fact, if you look at this and you feel, oh, I don't have enough of that wax on there, I want a little bit darker than that, you know, as long as this is, you know, dried up really good and sticking, then add it on. So, all right. So that's it for this design. And I'm going to try and have this available this weekend. And it's early. It's only 10:30. I'm thinking another hour, maybe 2 hours to finish up these other two. And I might be back later on today to start something new. So hopefully you'll join me. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.